It is another week, and that means it's time for another 30-minute race. This is the Advanced Mazda MX-5 Cup Series presented by Heusinkveld, the top split on the iRacing service. Welcome to the Race Online Network, and welcome to Circuit Zolder. Normally, the home of DTM, but today it's the home of the MX-5 Cup cars for 30 minutes here tonight. That's going to be one heck of a race. The first race of the iRacing week, and that means a lot of action is in store for you here tonight. Let's go ahead and bring up what is going to be the schedule coming into today and where we've been in terms of the previous race results. On your screen right now, we see the recap of the season so far with the winners, where we have Michael Folds winning at Landmark Park. Sven Hielhold had won at Watkins Glen. Nicholas Shepard won at Canadian Tire Motorsport. Joe Holmes was successful at The Bend. Road America had John Moe the third win after the top two drivers had wrecked on the final lap. Nicholas Shepard recently has gone back-to-back. The only driver to win twice or more, in this case 3 times this season, and not only 3 times this season, but doubling down to win back-to-back. Can anyone usurp the run that Nicholas Shepard has been going on for the last 2 weeks? We will have to wait and see in about 1 minute's time. But that is the schedule coming into today. Next week we head to Road Atlanta. It's going to be the short configuration. We head to Virginia International Raceway, the Grand Course configuration, in 2 weeks' time. The Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course on week 11. And then we travel to Oran Park over in Australia for the final race of the season, just ending on the, in this case, for the top split for the first week of the 1st of September. Believe it or not, that's just about 4 weeks away. It doesn't feel like it, but that will go by in an absolute flash. So let's go ahead and take a look at live pictures to see where these drivers are. In fact, we're about 30 seconds away from finishing up with qualifying, so we'll go ahead and wait these last 30 seconds, because the starting grid will be coming up on your screen here in just a few moments' time. A few drivers just finishing up their runs. We'll go ahead and get you the starting grid here once these drivers finish up their laps. And it looks like we will be able to give you the starting grid here, so let's go ahead and showcase where everybody will be starting this afternoon. Starting off on the front row, it's going to be Michael Folds and Charles Wolfe, first and second. Third is going to be John Miller. Joe Holmes is going to start off in 4th place. 5th place, Nicholas Shepard. 6th place will be Michael Coates. 7th place, starting off, is going to be Ian Bertolucci, or Bertolucci, I believe. Gregorio Moreno Jr. starts off in 8th. Daniel Diliberti 9th. 10th place is Matt Mullins. Tony Wallace starts off in 12th. 13th place is Tony Wallace starts off at 11th, actually. 12th place is Kevin Kramer. 13th place holds the number 16 correction of Frankie Sugamelli. Matt Burgess starts off in the 14th place position. 13th place, 15th place, I'll get these numbers correct at some point. 15th place is going to be Rodrigo Zanga, who I don't believe we've seen this season as of yet. 16th is going to be Remy Talons, and Christopher Cummings will round out the drivers that made a qualifying time, starting off in 17th place. 18th place is going to be Justin Gonzalez. 19th place is going to be Eugemy Yaksov. First time I've seen him this season. The drivers lining up on the grid. The revs rising up just a little bit early. Not everyone has gridded, I don't believe. Waiting for just a few more drivers in the back to grid. There's Michael Folds. 3 more drivers left to grid. 25 seconds left for these drivers. We have 18 laps estimated in store for you here this afternoon. and all eyes are going to be on the lights at the top of the bridge here. And so you have just a few seconds remaining. The revs will rise and then drop immediately. It's going to be down to these drivers to see who will be getting a good start here this afternoon. Lights up on the top of the gantry. 30 minutes on the clock. And we're racing here at Zolder. It's going to be one heck of a run down to turn number 1. Drivers all spread out everywhere, but it looks to be a clean first few corners as Michael Folds leads the field. And down the back straightaway they'll go. Charles Wolf sits second, third place. John Miller third, fourth place. Well, the entire top 7, 8, 9, 10 up to the top 12. It's as you were all the way down to Matt Burgess, who swapped positions with Sugamelli. Into the chicane we go. These cars are going to be launching themselves over and across those curves. A challenging portion of the racetrack. I think Michael Coates had gone too far because he is slowing way down. I think he's gotten the slowdown penalty. Oh, contact, I think, with Matt Burgess. Yes, that's going to force off the 14 of Michael Coates, and he will tow back. And just like that, a lap, not even a half lap in, and Coates is out. Well, now I'll have to go back and take a look to see what exactly happened at the with the number 14 machine. Let's try and going back a little bit further here to see what exactly happened with Michael Coates. Watch that green and yellow car. It's not there. It's not there. I don't know if he even cut the track, but he pulls off immediately. So I have to ride, look up from up above here, see what exactly happened with Michael Coates here. Oh, it's not there. Oh, yep, there it is. There's the course cut. And then contact was made with Matt Burgess, apparently. These two drivers are swapping positions in real time. Yeah, slowing way down. And, oh, no, it wasn't even contact. It was suspension damage from the curb. So it wasn't Burgess. It was suspension damage. And right now we're going to come back live because we have a huge incident. It is the number 2 in pit lane. I believe he is pretty much out. Yes, Joe Holmes is out. A couple of the drivers involved. I believe Matt Mullins in the process. What happened to the number 2 machine of Joe Holmes? Only on the second lap of the race so far. Contact with the number 4 solar panel in the way. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, we're going to have to run this back another 40 seconds. Apologies. We'll see if we can get everything down here. But this is a replay again of what happened with Joe Holmes. Did I see what I think I saw? Very defensive driving and brake checking practically some other drivers, I believe. I got to ride on board, I believe, the number 4 machine here. No, that's absolutely unnecessary on the part of Holmes there. Brake checking, defending is one thing, but brake checking is another, and then just caught up with the number 5 on the incident of, not of Moreno's fault necessarily. But, yeah, absolutely, not only aggressive defending, which is something else in its own right. As we're back with live pictures, you'll see the drivers where they are in real time, and some drivers nicking the gravel here, side by side. We'll come back to that point here in just a moment, as we got side by side between Zonga and Talons. I believe Gonzalez in this battle as well. That is Gonzalez in the number 6 machine. Talons in the middle of this low group, and leading the group is Zanga. Oh, over the curbs. goes Talons. No doubt that's going to be a slowdown penalty. Very lucky to not break the suspension off that car, as Matt Mullins and Matt Burgess have swapped positions. But yeah, as for that point with the number 2 of Joe Holmes, it's one thing to be defensive early on, not only 2 laps in, first of all, but brake checking in a place where drivers would not normally brake is self-incriminating in its own right and is absolutely unnecessary. But luckily / unluckily, depending on who you are, Joe Holmes is out and no longer running, caught up in an incident with Moreno, who got in the gravel and inadvertently took out Joe Holmes. In the meantime, Michael Folds leads here at Zolder, 4 laps in. Daniel Diliberti has gone for a spin. Moreno has fallen back 1 spot, but Diliberti has gone for a loop around here at Zolder. And just way too much momentum. Luckily keeps it out of the way. Good wherewithal to speed up out of the way. Let's ride on board with that number 17. Yeah, just too much. It's too much momentum. It keeps the foot on the throttle just to make sure that he's well out of the racing line. As we go back up to 2nd place here, Charles Wolf trying to chase down Michael Folds here. Last time by the start-finish line, it was advantage towards Folds, who was about, give or take, 10.5 faster. This battle, I would say, is the closest on track between John Miller III and Ian Bertolucci. I'm going to definitely be mispronouncing that, so I apologize. Bertolucci in the number 4 machine. But then we have this battle, where it's just a line of cars behind Kevin Creamer, who is defending as much as he can in that number 11 machine for that 7th place position. He's got Matt Burgess behind him, the ever so shiny and ever so chrome number 7, ever so factory new up until it gets onto the track. Gregorio Moreno Jr. following suit here, the 3rd car in line in that number 5 machine. Just a little bit behind, defending a little bit, is Frankie Sugamelli, trying to defend against Rodrigo Zanga. And Zanga sees the opening here. He's going to go for it, I believe. He does. Hard on the brakes he goes. You can see the brake discs glowing on both cars and can move Zanga up to 11th place. The field a little bit spread out. Some tires going onto the gravel there for a couple drivers here in the back. Very tricky portion of this course. Same with just launching themselves over the curbs, trying not to get a course cut penalty. Let's ride on board Moreno Jr. here as he sits right on the back bumper of Matt Burgess. Let's see what he sees here. For the most part, we got 21.5 minutes left. So quite a ways to go in this event. A lot can happen. I did hear some contact behind, and that should be potentially Matt Mullins and Zanga, because those two have swapped positions. What had happened to these two here? Was it in relation to these two? Ooh, inadvertently, yeah. Mullins inadvertently tags Moreno Jr. and Zanga capitalized, seeing that opening. Well, you know, back live, and well, it could be a potential pass here for position. 8th, 9th, 10th going through. Sorry, 7th, 8th, and 9th going through, as going wide is Rodrigo Zanga. Look at Moreno and Burgess side by side. Burgess around the outside. Kramer slowing down on the inside lane. Does he have some form of a slowdown penalty as he'll make his way through? And going wide is going to be the number 5 of Moreno. That won't be the first time this race that he has gone wide. And that Mullins and Frankie Zugamelli and Zanga, a whole host of cars battling for the 10th place spot here. Potentially the 9th place spot. We'll see if Moreno gets dragged into this. Ian Bertolucci has gotten past, and he's gone well over the curb. Surely that could be a slowdown penalty for the number 4. But John Miller III has snuck his way up to the 4th place position. Meanwhile, up out front, get there eventually with words, Michael Folds has distanced himself even further from Charles Wolfe. 0.3 of a second advantage to Folds last time around in terms of previous lap times. Shepard is closing in on Charles Wolfe, about 0.4 of a second. And John Miller III just sitting in his own little bubble right now. And then we have this whole host of cars battling for what's effectively the 7th place position here. Down the main straight, they will come. Across the start-finish line. Lap time comparisons will continue. In the meantime, as Burgess is keeping an eye on his mirrors as Kramer slides a little bit, makes it through. Ian Bertolucci and John Mill III battling for the 4th place position. And this has brought in Tony Wallace, the number 15 machine, into this battle. It's a 3-car battle for 4th. And then it's practically, I think quite literally, a 7-car battle for 7th place. Doesn't look like there's going to be any moves between these 3 heading into the first chicane. And then we head back to the battle for 7th place with basically the entire rest of the grid. And they will indeed make their way through. Single file for now, but for how long is the question. Diliberti and Talon's trading positions a little bit further behind. Oh man, just seeing them launch over the elevation. It's not even the curb, it's just the elevation of the track itself. As Diliberti, I think, has gone for another spin once again. And he has. We just come back to, oh, could be. The curb has struck once again. Overhead shot here to see what the 17 had dealt with. He's fine here, hits the curb, and just unsettles the car. Another spin for Daniel Diliberti, but he is still staying persistent, staying in this race. Trying his best in case anything were to happen with the rest of the field. In this case, the rest of the field being a generous description of 7th through 13th. Spot that we've been watching here throughout the race. Bertolucci back up to 4th. John Miller might try and find his way through, but looks like for now, Bertolucci has cemented himself back into 4th place. The only drivers to remain in their starting spots, essentially, from where they had started, well, luckily, just by the simple graphic here of positions gained and lost. We have Michael Folds, Charles Wolfe 1st and 2nd, still remaining where they started. Gregorio Moreno Jr. still remaining where he started in 8th. Well, I say that, may have jinxed him here because Matt Burgess is about to make a pass here around the outside of the kink. Hard on the brakes, they will all go. Moreno moves up to 7th, cuts through the chicane though. Saw that even from that angle, and that is 1000% a slowdown penalty. He'll have to be tactical about this if he does want to try and keep it, but it's going to be quite difficult with how wide this track is. Will he be able to retain this 7th place spot? Quite slow into the hairpin, a little bit wide, just trying to bleed off that time. He has to serve. But right now, Moreno has fallen. Actually, no, he does retain that 7th place spot, so he should be relatively fine right now. Zugamelli and Gonzalez swapping positions here just before the chicane. And oh, by the way, remember that point that I made about Nicholas Shepard being faster than Charles Wolfe? Well, here it is, right here, visualized on track, where Shepard has caught up. He's going to peek a nose to the right-hand side of Charles Wolfe. And we are just about halfway through, with about 15 minutes left. Moves Shepard up to second place. And Charles Wolfe is not going to let that battle go. Well, he might actually. In fact, he might try and follow and push Nicholas Shepard either through the chicane. We'll see. He does back off. But probably try and tag along with Shepard all the way up to Michael Folds, because Shepard is faster than Folds by about 0.5 of a second. Here's 5th, 6th, and 7th. Miller, Wallace, and Moreno Jr. Then Matt Burgess sitting just behind Moreno. Actually, that's Bertolucci, Miller, and Wallace. Then we have Moreno Jr. and the rest down to P12, just about. A little bit more spread out than what we've seen in the opening 15 minutes of this race, though. That front end is absolutely pushed in on that 17 machine as well. You can see it from a side-on angle here. Yeah, that is quite that grill. I'm not an expert, but I don't think it should be bent in by about that much. Using Kevin Creamer's front nose as reference here, as he'll make his way through, you can see the nose kind of swoops out a little bit. But for Burgess, it's just flat. It just kind of stops for the front nose. So absolutely bent in a little bit. Going to be harming those aerodynamics ever so slightly, but shouldn't be too big of an issue. We'll see, as everyone here is finally started to sort themselves out. So not necessarily, ooh, man, I think Rodrigo Zango was a little bit slidey through the final chicane there. I think everyone's starting to fall into their own pace here. Speaking of falling into their own pace, John Miller trying to defend against Tony Wallace, who last time by was faster by about 1/10 of a second. We got 13.5 minutes left. As we take a look overhead, soon we'll go ahead and ride on board with one of these drivers in the field as, oh, wait a minute, well, slow. It's Ian Bertolucci. Did he have a slowdown penalty? It would be quite impressive if he somehow did manage to get a slowdown penalty as he launches over the curbs. It looks like everything is fine for that number 4 machine. Potentially just a little bit of a bobble on the exit of, I believe, turn 4. Down to the back straightaway. You can see he's got the wipers on, trying to get all the gravel and dust and dirt off that windshield. And I don't necessarily blame him. Keeping an eye on the gaps currently. Looks like everything for now has stagnated. Of course, now that I say that, Kevin Creamer might change that here, because he's about to potentially make a move on Moreno Jr. into the hairpin. Decides against it. Could he go for the chicane potentially? A lot of passing opportunities around this track here. And Moreno going very defensive here. In fact, he's just opening up a lane. In fact, Moreno lets Kevin Creamer by. I think he knows that that 11 machine is a little bit faster, so a bit of sportsmanship here throughout the field as Kevin goes a little bit too wide off the exit. Not necessarily worthy of a slowdown penalty, but potentially a incident point for going off track. It looks like they have decided to all play nice here. Turn 1 is so tricky here. I'll go ahead and ride on board with a couple of drivers here once we get the chance here. Try this again, preferably. There we go. Want to do a full lap here once they go to the front straightaway. But while we have the time, with 11.5 minutes left, let's just sit right here, actually, on this camera, and just see how many drivers have gone wide here. We saw a couple already, and just dipping tires into the gravel ever so slightly. There goes Sugamelli. There goes Talons, who goes halfway off the track, worthy of a 1X. No doubt. Some of the drivers launching themselves over the curbs. Meanwhile, out front, Michael Folds has decided to absolutely just continue to set sail. And last time by lap time comparison, 0.2 of a second faster was Nicholas Shepard. Again, only 0.2 of a second with about 10 minutes left. 0.2 of a second over the next 10 minutes. Let's give that, say, 5 laps. In fact, we're an estimated 6 laps away from the end. Not enough time, to put it simply. Absolutely not enough time. In the meantime, let's ride on board with Tony Wallace here and see what it's like to go for a lap around Circuit Zolder. You can see the amount of time gained as Tony Wallace had pretty much launched himself into the final chicane. He's going to be looking on the right-hand side of Bertolucci. Into turn one they go. No dice there as Bertolucci nails the curb on the left-hand side, launching and crushing. That's, well, not crushing, but making those suspension springs work, that's for sure. Dampers, springs, shocks, everything working together. And here's the visual of your top three with 8 minutes left. 2.8 seconds back is Nicholas Shepard. Still faster than Michael Folds. And closing the gap ever so slightly throughout these last couple laps ever since we last checked in. And in fact, in case it's worth anything for anyone's interest, we have now gone down one estimated lap. So instead of an estimated 18 laps, we're now going to an estimated 17 laps. That's how much the pace has changed here throughout this event. Last lap being set by Michael Foltz at 146.125, 145.852 for Nicholas Shepard, then Charles Wolf with a 146.352. Ooh, John Miller III slow on the track. Did he go over the curbs? Most likely. Let's run this back for a replay here. So down into the chicane they'll go here. And watch for where the tires go. It might have been, yeah, it may have been right there. Because he does pull off pretty much immediately here. Well, let's see if we can hopefully get a, maybe not from this angle. Well, let's go on board and taking a look. See if he does go over, potentially. Hard to tell from this angle, but back live nonetheless with your live pictures as Ian Bertolucci leads in 4th place. This little group. Tony Wallace 5th, 6th place. John Miller quite a ways back. As look at this battle up ahead. We got Kevin Creamer and Gregorio Moreno Jr. battling for 7th once again. Here comes Rodrigo Zanga. I think he got on the back bumper of Kevin Creamer, as I saw the 11 car bobbling absolutely wildly. And around the outside, here comes Rodrigo Zanga, just slowly making his way up to the field throughout this event. And with 6 minutes left on the back straightaway, it is a drag race between these two for the 9th place spot. Both of them not exactly in the ideal line to get through the chicane. Zanga makes it through, stays within track limits just about. And just up ahead, it is Ian Bertolucci on the offense against Tony Wallace. John Miller has caught up as well with these two. 5.5 minutes left. An estimated 3 laps to go. It should be 2 laps to go here at the start-finish line, because there is Michael Folds. There's Nicholas Shepard. 2 seconds left. Maybe Shepard might be able to... Actually, yeah, because last time by... Well, hold on a minute. So last time by, it was 146.1 for Michael Folds, and then for Nicholas Shepard, it was 145.827, but a couple laps ago, Shepard took out about a half second of Michael Folds' lead. Bertolucci back to the lead of this little group. He'll slide wide, just keeps it off the gravel by millimeters. Hard on the brakes he'll go. Tracking back out wide. Through the kink. Trying to keep everything in line here. Trying to keep everything firm. Stable and under control as they glide through onto the back straight, down to the chicane. This battle for 4th place absolutely not over yet. Oh man, I saw that just from up above too. It's the best visualization. I think maybe Bertolucci may have gone over a bit too much, but he's not slowing down a significant amount. No, he did. He did get a slowdown penalty. He did get a slowdown penalty. So now Bertolucci is on the back foot of this group. Too aggressive on the curbs, maybe too aggressive again as he tracks out wide. That's putting half the car off the track in the process. Aside from that braking, that definitely different braking points between Miller and Wallace into the first chicane. Bertolucci already on top of the back bumper, though, of John Miller III. Believe it or not, this is about for 4th place, and they're doing absolutely fantastic. At this time by, Folds will cross the start-finish line. 1.6 seconds back between himself and Nicholas Shepard. An estimated 2 laps to go, and that is going to be the case. Next time by should be the second to last lap, I believe. We'll wait and see what the time comes across as here once these drivers make their way to the start-finish line. For this 4th place battle, it is still on between Wallace, Miller, and Bertolucci. Gregorio Moreno Jr. still leading this 7th place battle here, ahead of Zanga, Kramer, Gonzalez, Mullins. From 7th to 11th is that next battle on track. But this right now is just about the closest battle on track. And in fact, I changed my mind as contact is made. Zanga goes around. He's off the track. Spins into... No, he saves it. Just keeps it off the Armco barrier. But after contact with the 11 machine, the good day has gone downhill for Zanga. He was doing so well. An inadvertent contact between himself and Kramer has led to a potential outside of the top 10 finish for Zanga. And I say potential because a lot can still happen in these last few laps. It could be within this last lap. Here comes Bertolucci peeking out to the right-hand side. Down into the hairpin they'll go. Hard on the brakes is Bertolucci. All 3 of them onto the brakes. Bertolucci is there. He'll go side by side. Meanwhile, out up front, it is going to be the last lap for Michael Folds. Back to the 4th place spot. Bertolucci not able to get by Tony Wallace. Shepard is within a second of Michael Folds. It's down to any mistakes made by Michael Folds. The last time by, it was a 146.4 for Michael Folds. Nicholas Shepard with a 145.7. Can Shepard catch up to Michael Folds here in this final lap? Or will he be forced to play second fiddle and finish second? Folds has been effectively elusive with podiums recently, and not of his own, not necessarily of his own volition, but he has been relatively consistent with podiums throughout this season. I'm sure you'd love to convert that into a win, especially here, especially after he was so dominant. But Nicholas Shepard has other ideas of his own. Into the second chicane here. sliding the car. You can see his hands and you can see the physical, actual tires working their way through. Shepard has caught up to the back bumper. He is within striking distance of Michael Folds. Does Folds go defensive into the hairpin? No, he stays in line. So does Shepard. It's going to be single file. The last shot could be down into the chicane. Does Folds go defensive here, or is he confident that he will be able to make it for the win? He qualified on pole. He is number one car. Shepard goes to the inside. Almost makes contact, and there goes Folds. He goes off the track. No contact was made between Shepard and Folds, and it's going to be a side-by-side race. There is the margin of victory on your screen as Shepard goes 3 in a row for the Advanced Mazda MX-5 Cup Series. Charles Wolfe finishes in third, rounding at the podium. Here comes Miller to finish in fourth. Tony Walls fifth. Ian Bertolucci has made contact. Zanga, I think, has a slowdown penalty. He has absolutely let by Sugamelli. And this battle for 7th place is not over yet, at least not for the cars behind. It's going to be a drag race between various cars for 9th. Mullins just gets ahead of Kramer. Wow. Wow. Friendly demolition derby between these two. These two are on the same team. Very bold decision, because I don't know if the race has officially finished. Yeah, it has, so and some points won't count between these two, but their show of sportsmanship between these two. What a finish. I absolutely cannot believe that, and that is something that we absolutely have to take one more look at here. I did not think. Well, let's take a look from up above. No contact was made. It was all clean between Shepard and Folds. He just took away the line. Nothing that Shepard did wrong there. Placed his car there right at the last second. And the margin of victory, 5.29 seconds for Nicholas Shepard. What a run to the finish. Just significantly more confident. Wow. I think Folds had just ever so slightly, he had his car put wrong. Again, no contact made. That is one heck of a pass. Especially considering that was for the win on the last lap and effectively the last corners as well. So what a fantastic job done by Michael Folds. Absolutely incredibly well done by Nicholas Shepard and Michael Folds. We'll give it to him too. Both great clean racing between those two on the final lap. I'll go ahead and put up the final results for you on screen now. Shockingly going 3 in a row. 4th win on the season for Nicholas Shepard. Michael Folds finishes 2nd. 3rd place, Charles Wolfe. And even though he had a quiet race, props to Charles for finishing in the 3rd place spot. He did start in 2nd, so we'll go over who started where here in just a little bit. But John Miller III finishes in 4th, another top 5 for him. Once again, Tony Wallace finishes in 5th. He started in 11th place, worked his way at the end of the day up to 5th place. Great job for him. And while I'm on the topic here, while he still can, Nicholas Shepard started 5th. Folds, Wolfe, and Miller started 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Absolutely incredible. Ian Bertolucci finishes in 6th after starting 7th. Gregorio Moreno Jr., similar story. He finishes 7th after starting in, get this, 8th. Jesse Gonzalez, we didn't see much of him throughout the entire race in terms of calling him out specifically, but he started in 18th place, and he has moved his way up to 8th after everything is all said and done. So great job to Gonzalez there for getting a top 10 finish there. Matt Mullins finishes in 9th after starting 10th, and Kevin Kramer finishes in 10th after starting in 12th place. It's a similar story down the second portion of the grid, where Matt Burgess had increased his finishing spot by 3 on his starting spot. So he started in 14th, finishes in 11th. Frankie Sigamelli finishes 12th after starting 13th. Rodrigo Zenga had a great day on his as well for him, but after contact inadvertently with the 11, he got sent back down to P13. But he did start 15th. He does have top 10 pace. He did have bottom half of the top 10 pace. So he did a fantastic job here throughout this event. 1,000%. Even though contact was made, even though he got sent to effectively 12th/13th place, might be seeing more first half lap of the race. Finishes in 18th and a DNS for Evgeny Yaskov. Did not start in that number 9 machine. But my goodness, what a race, what an event, and what a track especially. Fantastic job so far. And well, speaking of tracks, next week we move on to I would argue, a unique layout in terms of next week's event, because we do head to Road Atlanta for next week, but we head to the short configuration of Road Atlanta. Not something I've seen used before. Usually, it's the full layout for some tracks, so the MX-5 series has decided, you know what, let's do the short layout. And that is something I'm absolutely looking forward to here. Still the same front stretch, still the same S's and everything, as we see the opening section here, the ever so famous downhill section. Such a challenge in its own right. But instead of going on to the lap, for the mid portion of the lap, technically, for Road Atlanta, that's something I'm absolutely looking forward to for next week. A unique track in its own right, especially, but even more unique with this bypass layout, the short layout especially. We'll see how things fare for next week. At Road Atlanta. The short configuration awaits us next week. And another 3-minute race on the horizon. We're closing in on the final 4 races of the season. We'll see you next week at Road Atlanta.